What's up, people? My name is Kevin and welcome back to the OC Gaming TV. Right, today we're going to continue with a drawing class. As said, well, I'm not saying, but my New Year's resolution is I'm going to try at least to make at least once a week to do a drawing video class. It might be a class, it might be fan art or something like that. I do apologize for if I do not stick to that schedule. I do work long hours, so I'm doing this in my spare time, and obviously with no monetization or remuneration coupled to this. So I'm just doing it for the fun and maybe one day to act and serve as a profile for if I want to apply for an art job or something. But either way, let's continue. Okay, so today's class is going to be the leg. I know I did do one on the full body, the first one I ever did, and then I did a fan art stipulant. But today we're going to continue with the leg, and then we're going to build our way up. We'll do the leg, then the upper body, then the arm, then the neck, then the head, and the eye, the mouth, the nose, etc., etc. So the software that I'm using is Clip Studio Paint Pro. I know a lot of people use Photoshop. I actually do have Photoshop also. I use Photoshop mostly when I do like fan art and stuff, but for simple drawings, well, not simple drawings, but for classes I usually use Manga Studio or Clip Studio as it's known now, because it's I won't say it's easy, it's exactly the same as Photoshop. It's just more user friendly, and there's a lot of brushes and stuff that I do like in here, especially when it comes to the paint brushes. There's like a blend brush, it's bloody awesome, but we'll get to that later on. Okay, so for the leg, what I did was I just got 4 lines going, and this is going to be a set of 4 legs. For that also, let's change our color to blue, a light blue. So a lot of people has got their own way of drawing the leg, and a lot of people will argue with you and say, no, this is not the right way, this is the wrong way. This is anatomically correct, that's not anatomically correct. But remember, when it comes to, especially with muscles, and the size and the dexterity, the density, the width, and all those things when it comes to body parts is, yes, there's a set formula, but humans aren't set to a formula. You do get wide variety in humans. The muscle sets will always be there. The muscles won't change, but the size and density and all those things of the muscles will change. It depends on the person's what do you call it? His not involvement, but his evolution to get to his current stage where he is now. You might see, like one guy said, or I heard one guy one day said, yeah, if you draw a person, the muscles must be unconscious, but it's not always the case. You can get, like, take Olympic athletes for example, especially let's look at javelin throwers. They might have a strong upper body and a lower, weaker body. And sometimes you'll see one of their arms is usually their dominant arm. It's usually more, it's bigger than the other arm. So there is differences in those things. But we're doing a drawing and we're just going to stick to the basics. Just for interest's sake, the book that I'm using for reference, or that I did use for reference, is, let me show you these guys. It's Classic Human Anatomy. It's by Valerie Winslow. It's an awesome book. There is various other versions or other books also that you can use, but I do like this one because firstly, the sketches and the reference material in there is actually drawn. So when you refer to a photo and stuff like that, it's usually, I don't know, there's always I don't know, I draw easier from sketches as reference materials than from photos. I don't know why. But yeah, let's continue in the drawing. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the center of all these lines. It's going to be roughly about there. It doesn't matter if it's 100% in the center, it's just for a reference. And then usually what I do is I just draw a circle there. That's just usually to indicate where the knee will be. And then for the upper leg, I just do a line like that. And then for the lower leg, just again a line like that. Don't worry, we'll get more defined as we go. What I like to do is, I like to usually start with the knee. So what I usually do is I put a line just to get the width of the knee. And then another, you can use these oblique lines that I'm putting in here and to get the angle. Because the knee isn't a square like most people. It's usually like a diamond that's lying on one side. So you'll get this type of offset three-dimensional square thing going. So that's usually what I use for my reference for the knee. Doesn't have to be this prominent. You can make it like different sizes. If you want like a skinny guy, make the knee skinnier. If you want a stronger guy, make the knee a bit more thicker. Let me just get the issue I have with Clip Studio now is my keys, my express keys are placed for Photoshop. So they're not all doing what they're supposed to be doing. But that's it. So basically that's my first step always. Then, as we said, the leg will usually be, remember you divide your body into 8 heads. So to get that will be the top of our leg. So I usually, I get the thickness that I want. I want this, let's say this thickness. Yeah, it sounds good. And then I usually just put a circle there where I want the thickness to be. I think this is going to be a bit too thick. Yeah, it's going to be a bit too thick. Let's make it, let's not take it that, let's make it about here. And then what I usually do is I just draw a skew line. Oh, dang, that's rough. That's rough. That's a lot of pressure. For those people that's wondering, also I'm drawing on the Canvas 22 Pro Uyon. I love this tablet. It's like a quarter of what a Canvas or some Cintiq costs, and it does exactly the same work. Plus, I must admit, I wasn't sponsored by Uyon. Don't think that I bought this out of my own pocket. But Uyon has got a better customer care service. They actually talk to their clients, which I do like. I do appreciate that. Okay, so with this said also, when usually I just get a circle or an indent circle like that, that's just going to specify the hip, where the groin is going to be. Then usually also what I do is I put another circle here on the corner of this one, and I draw a line down to the other corner. That's usually your fibia, and the bottom one's usually my tibia. That's how I discern my bones. Let's get this out. Right, it's coming on a little bit. Then, on this line, usually there's a muscle. It's called, I don't want to lie to you, let's use the reference material. There's usually 3 very important muscles that you have to have on your upper leg. It's usually the, what do you call them again? I think it's the femorals, or the femurs, or something like that. And then it's the lateral vastuus, and I can't remember the last one. It was the medialis vastuus, or something like that. That's the 3 most important muscles you do have to have. And then also there's usually a muscle that runs from here. Okay, let me show you the muscles that I talk about. The first one is usually, it's the, what did I call it? It's the vastus medialis. This is usually the muscle that's situated here. And then you get the rectus femoris, I think. Don't hit me on these words. But it's usually situated somewhere here. And then you get the last one that we talked about. It was the vastus lateralis. It's usually the one that's situated here. And they usually walk in a oblique line like that, like I put them there. But we're gonna define them a bit better. Okay, so let's just get these lines out. I should maybe make this brush a bit bigger, but I didn't set the density of the strength of it. So, but it's cool. It's cool. We'll get there. Okay, so I usually just start drawing in like the first one's going to be here, then the second one is going to be over there. They usually or touch each other like that, and then comes up like this. Remember, it doesn't have to be like 100% correct now. This is just to give an understanding of how I do the muscle groups. And then usually it comes down like this. It's just rough sketching now. We'll flesh it out in a bit. And then usually I just divide this into the 3 thigh muscles like that. And then, like, remember what we said, there's a muscle group that's on here also, going up this side. right, like that. Then let's just do the knee quickly. What I usually just do with the knee for shading purposes, I just put a ball there, another ball there, another ball there, another ball there. You'll see when I come into the shading, that's going to be kind of quick. I'll show you what I do with that. When you do the shading, interesting tip. This is just, I'm speaking off the side of my mind now. Remember, when you see a leg, the leg usually walks something like this. So let's say the light comes from this side. So I'll just catch it in a bit quickly. Let me just give you a rough idea of what I'm talking about. So the light's going to come in here. So basically, the upper part of the leg will always block the sun. So this will always be This will always be highlighted with light, and you'll get some spots here, maybe there, and then maybe in the back there will be light. But all this, the other parts will be dark. So always keep that in mind when you're doing your when you do your drawings. Let's get a nice big brush. So just always remember that. Keep that in the back of your head. Right, then we go to the lower legs, the calf, and all those things. So just going to bring the tibia, going to make it more defined. Also just take it down. Then going to bring it down to simulate one of the calves, and this one is usually just a bit lower than when you make the first corner, the first triangle gap there or diamond cut there. Just take it a bit lower, and just on that line, on your reference line, and there we go. And then it just comes in like that, goes out like that. Do the binding for the foot, and come out like that. Actually, the foot will actually start a bit here, so let's just bring it a bit up. Don't worry about the proportions now. We'll fix that in a bit. Get a bit down like that. That's where the foot's going to be. Like that. And then usually what I just do for the muscles, for the calf muscle, I just put the fiber bundles there. And then usually in here with the tibia, there's usually a muscle group that goes up with the tibia like that. And then I also just put like 3 muscle fiber bundles there. That's basically how I usually do my legs. Then you just see hardness, blurry fit. That's not a hardness, is this? Is this the hardness? Just check. No, it's still freaking hard as ever. Still hard. Just lighten it up a bit here. The Mango works a bit different, so or Clip Studio. I'm gonna stop calling it Mango Studio. I'm gonna make it a bit lighter. I could actually just make the whole layer a bit lighter, but nah. Go back, pop in a new layer, and we're gonna draw on the new layer. Let's make it a black. Don't worry about now that it's gonna look good or anything. This is just a pen going again. Just to do some lining now. Now let's make it like that. Get that going. It's just I'm just drawing on normal layers. Be it like that. That. Let me figure out how this density can work. That's definitely that's good. It's mixed. Well, it's different from the eraser. Okay. Let's just redo this entire part. Right. Let's go again. Let's start here by the knee. that bad. Just doing the lining now. Like so. This might not be that big. It's definitely not that big. Doesn't protrude that much. I can actually bring this a bit more like that. Yeah, that looks a bit better. You'll always play a bit with your sizes and stuff. Remember what I said, not all muscles always look the same. So that's not good there. It's not that. That's better. Okay, let's just hide this layer now. That's basically the form for the leg. Yeah, it's not the best in the world, but it will suffice for now for what we're gonna do. I'll just pop it back in. Right. Then just get some of these muscles in. What did you just do there? I'll just press the one button. There we go. The buttons on the Euro pin is situated a bit weird. I'm making my muscles a bit bigger, so they won't generally always be that big. This is like superhero thickness. So this muscle group coming down from this side. Might not have to make this one look big. Okay. Now, remember what we said about the light, the sketch that I showed you with the light. Just put it here. This is the leg, that's the knee, that's the back leg. The light is like that. So remember what will get light. You see, the light will be in front of this, will all have light. Everything behind this will be dark, basically. And another thing also, when you draw muscles, it looks just bad. Let's make this diamond. So a lot of people, it's probably not correct, or it's probably not wrong, especially when you check like the masters, how they did it, is they will usually make a muscle round, and they'll stick in that roundness. It gives it a bit of a artificial flavor, and especially with comics and stuff. Comics are more rougher, like you see comics like to put angular feelings to muscle groups. It gives it, I don't know, it gives it like a roughness. I don't know how to pronounce or how to say it correctly, but yeah. And then always the cross-hatching. Cross-hatching is very important. The thing also, this is a cartoonist, or not a cartoonist, a graphic novel artist. I keep on forgetting his name, but he does a very good tutorial on how to do cross-hatching. It's like, it's not just a straight line like that. It's usually here by the center, it's a bit thicker, and it goes like that, yeah, like that. And then you start off close, or bundled in close, and then the further you get, you just go, you know, lighter and give more spacing towards it. The eraser density is totally different from the brush density, which is quite weird actually. Let me just scale up this eraser. Let's get this stuff out. Now, I'm not a professional when it comes to shading. There's a lot of other people that can give better guidance on how to do shading, but I'll show you always the way I do it. Okay, let's just finish up the knee part. Get in the four circles here. Muscle group. Muscle group. Muscle group. Muscle group. Basically, that's all the muscle groups and tendons and stuff in the leg. Let's just hide the back so you can see a bit more clearly. Right. Okay, you can add these lines also if you want. Just to give reference to what you're drawing. Right, then we're going to do the way I do my shading. It's going to be quick. It's going to be, maybe I should do it in red or something. Let's do it in red. So basically, and let's do it on a different layer also, so that when we erase it, we don't erase the whole body picture. Okay, so remember what I said. Okay, remember the drawing that I made about the leg. So on top here, this part will have shade. This part will mostly be in shade. Okay, so remember that. So shade, and then this part will be shaded also. Okay, and then remember also the muscles, they do bundle, or they do bunch outwards. So you'll have shades here also. Now let's make it like that. Let's get some shade in there. This is going to be shaded like that. It's going to be some shade. The knee is going to be very dark. Let's just start doing in the knee. And so remember what I said, there's going to be a light. And then from here, let's make it more from there. It's going to be dark up until, let's make it like that. Okay, so that'll have white, and then that. Downwards. And when you also do the shading, remember to try and keep the shape of the leg going, or not the leg, the muscle. But for now, let's just do what I'm like I'm doing it. I'm just trying to keep the shape of the leg and do some cross hatching also like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. Because remember, when you do the inking, you're just going to color it in, so it doesn't have to be fancy. Just to give the general description that it's like getting there. But usually I just like to color it first in, just to see that it looks right, and then usually afterwards I do my cross hatching. So let's make it like that. Zoom in a bit here. I'm also using a smaller canvas to reduce the upload. Zoom out, looks good. ish. That. That. Don't always, when you do some, you can always make like the shades like tapering outwards and put like dark spot there to break the shape usually also of the legs. I hate that button on the pen. Very annoying. Knee, I will go in afterwards with the razor just to bring it up a bit. Usually remember the back calves will also get a lot of light now. Just remember that, because remember there's light also from the back, because the upper leg is spraying the shade down onto the lower leg. Just remember that. Just keep that in the mindset. So the front part of the lower leg will be cased in a lot of shadow. Closer to the foot here, we'll do a lot of shadow. Usually this calf is always, almost always completely shadowed. You know what? Yeah, basically something like that. I know it looks rough now, but you'll get the idea when I start going in with the inks and stuff. Or we might not even need to ink it, but yeah. Come on. But basically, let's just hide the backside. Basically, that's how the shading will look like. You'll just make it like a lot better now, and we'll do the cross hatching. Remember, the closer to the dark source, the closer the hatching will be. And the farther you move to the lighter area, the more space you'll give. Okay, it's basics. Over here, I wanted to get a bit more clean, breaking color in. Actually make the pen a bit bigger now, just to color in some of the shade a bit better. But you get the basic idea of what I wanted to get in there. I usually won't color it in too much. It's just to get for me it's just to see the general outlines of the shades now a bit better. Because sometimes I do forget, I can get carried away. But remember, when you're going to do your inking, it's going to become black, so in any case. What's always good is to zoom a bit in and then just start doing your cross-hatching. But it's going to look bad now because the resolution of this one is not that good. I tried saving space. It's going to be dark on this side. Stop colors. I do apologize for that. So basically it's going to look like that, roughly now. I'm not going to worry too much about clearing it up now. This is just a quick way of showing how I draw the muscle groups or the leg. Remember, this is just roughly. You're still going to have to read it or go and define it, but we'll do that in another video. This is just for you to give yourself a basic idea of what you need. Just remember, let's do this in another way. Just remember the important parts. To start out with a blue, let's go a bit thicker. Remember the three main muscle groups. This muscle group over here, then let's go for another lighter type blue. Then this muscle group over here, and then lastly this muscle group over here. The muscle groups are generally always tear ducts, always. That's the three main importance. And the size of these three muscle groups, they can differ. Remember, if you want your guy to be stronger, if you want your guy to be weaker, if it's weaker, you'll make it smaller or narrower, or whatever you like to call it. And yeah, and then let's do the calves quickly. Remember, there's a calf muscle on this side. It's usually depicted in three. I usually use three or fibers there. The same on this side also. I use the three fibers bundles over here. And then it's the tibia, which is always, remember the tibia, it's like a bone type structure. So it's going to be this way always. And there's always a bone that runs always vertically parallel to this bone. It's actually going to be a bit high. It's going to be up here. That's just a basic idea to give the muscle, the important muscles. And then usually remember the knee, like I said. Where's the pink? The knee, diamond, people, diamond. You can use a circle, but then just define your circle a bit to offset the knee. Okay, remember that. Let me wipe these. There you go. Alright, we go to this one. Just take out this one here. We wanted the what do we want? The shades. Okay. And that's basically that for the when you do a leg. So let's just go through all of those. Let me just have the back one. So basically, always just sketching the lines. Like remember the way the way that I showed you is you start out with the shape. Then you go. I usually start with the knee. So get your basic length of your leg, divide it in the half, put in your knee, put in the diamond for your knee, and then use the shapes of that to get your upper and your lower leg. Then we just put it in the defined lines to show the muscle groupings. Then we did some shading, and then we just the basic to show what the important muscle groups. Okay, but I think it looks good. It's a bit rough now. These other three lines I actually wanted to show you on them the different. You know what, man? I wonder. Yeah, I'm not going to try and do it now because it works a bit differently on Clip Studio. I really got to stop calling it Manga Studio. But that's just basically to show you the processes in it. How did I render my ideas into the leg? Okay. And then again, just when you do the rear of the leg, it's basically exactly the same process. I'm just going to quickly show it for you guys. Let's just do it quickly at black. But again, you get your knee, you define your knee. Let's just get this pen a bit smaller. Get your upper. God, that's bad. Get again your upper leg going, the lower leg. Put again in your circles, tibia. Tibia. Now the only difference is when you do the rear muscle groups, there's a it's like the knee muscles goes a bit up higher, and then the calf systems. You just extend your diamond a bit now. I've got to remember how to do this now. So the back muscles are a bit difficult because you got the butt in there also. It is gigantic now. Come on. Muscle group goes up like that into the butt. The butt muscle is usually situated like, let's say there. Might be a bit higher. But the back leg we'll do in the next video. So this is just to give you a rough showing of what's going on in the back leg. And you can use the same principle for the back leg. But basically that's just the muscle grip. You use the same exact stance for that. But hopefully this shows you how to do the leg from the front. I hope it was entertaining. I hope you enjoyed it. We did go a bit long, but I mean these pictures do take long. But yeah, if you like to see more content like this, remember I'm not a professional artist. I draw for fun. I do have classes that I do attend, but it's just to improve myself. I am subscribed to a few Patreons also, which I will put in my description. I think their work is awesome. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Remember, go and check out this book. I'm not sponsoring and they're not sponsoring me. So, but just go and check it out. It's a personal reference of myself. No affiliation to them. I'll put the book also in the description. It's copyrighted and all those things. I have to do that, and I have to put down the disclaimer. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found this instructional. Yeah, that's the word. And that you can use this into your own art sets or your own art style. But remember, just the key features. Remember, do not put your muscle bundle or your muscles. When you do the shading, try not to stay away from round shapes. Remember the hatching. It's difficult to put it on or to show you the method on the digital display, but it's something like that. Usually the bottom is usually a bit thicker, and then it lines out or goes lighter the way you go up, and then also just cross-hatching. Cross-hatching is very important. I didn't put it in here because I did do some of cross-hatching here and there just to give you an idea of what it looks like. It breaks the shape of your, it breaks that coloring in shape. Yeah, it gives it more rugged appeal to it. But yeah, it's something I'm going to call it a day here. The next lesson I will either do the upper body or the back of the leg. The back of the leg is actually very simple. It's very plain. I did the muscle groups are there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's it's 8 or 7, and then excluding the knee. There's about 8 important muscle groups that you have to put in. So just keep that in mind when you draw it. Then just remember the shading tip that I showed you with the leg. What will be in shade depending on your light source. And this will be shaded. Then the back will be shaded, and there it will also be shaded. So just keep that in mind. And hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that like button if you liked it. If you didn't like it, I don't mind a thumbs down, but remember, just comment, just tell me what you didn't like so I can try and improve it for you guys. And then see you in the next video. Hope you enjoyed it.